Okay, the YouTube has started. I'm just going to share the agenda now. Anybody can just confirm that it's okay on your screen?
Yep, looks good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Go ahead, Jane. Mayor Duma.
Good morning, everyone. This is the regular council meeting of the Township of South Algonquin for November 4th, 2020, commencing at 9:03 a.m. Good morning, everyone. Are there any additions or amendments to the agenda? Holly?
I have one to note. I'm going to add a resolution to the agenda, which is for council to direct staff to provide a letter to Minister Yakabuski regarding the transfer of the Lyle landfill site.
All right, thank you. We'll tag that on to the end of the resolution section. Thank you very much. Prior to going to the agenda, I visually confirm that all members of the council are present at this time. So I have a resolution moved by Councillor Vermeer, seconded by Councillor Collins. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the agenda as circulated and amended for the regular council meeting of November 4th, 2020. And I will call the vote because the agenda's up. I don't have the visual to see the showing of hands. So Councillor Collins.
For.
Councillor Florent.
For.
Councillor Harper.
For.
Councillor Bongo.
For.
Councillor Shala.
For.
Councillor Vermeer.
For.
It's carried. With the business before us this morning, does any member of council wish to disclose a pecuniary interest? None noted. Thank you. Holly, if you could advance the agenda a little bit for me, I would appreciate it. Thank you. As noted, we do not have any delegations, petitions, or presentations at this point in time. So going up to number 6, we have minutes of the previous meetings. And I have a resolution moved by Councillor Florence, seconded by Councillor Shala. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the regular council meeting of October 7, 2020. Sorry, October 7th, 2020 is circulated. Any discussion?
Mayor?
Mayor?
Okay, Councillor Bongo first.
Okay, sure. I was wondering if I could have my name attached to the little blurb about the review of the COVID policies, specifically me asking about 2 people from different households in one vehicle to have masks on. I'm totally okay with being known as the counselor that's very cautious about COVID, just because I think it's a super important thing. And if we do have a transmission event, I want it known that I take it very seriously.
Okay, we can make that amendment. Holly, you've got that?
Bongo, can you just suggest what part of the meeting was that within new business? Do you remember where you stated that? It doesn't matter. We can go back and listen to the audio. Yes, we'll add it.
I may have mentioned it in the additions part of the meeting. And I think it was discussed in the administrative report.
Okay.
Eventually, but yeah, just, you know, if you want to tack my name on there and the fact that, you know, we did discuss the importance of having masks on, especially in vehicles and such.
Very good. Thank you, Councillor Bongo. Councillor Florent?
Yes, motion number 20-147. There's a word in there, fiber optic. I don't think there is any such word. It should be 3 separate words, fiber optic cable.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other amendments to the minutes? So the resolution will now read, be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the agenda, going down here. The resolution moved by Councillor Florence, seconded by Councillor Shala will now read, be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the regular council meeting of October 7, 2020 as circulated and amended. I would call the vote then on this resolution. Councillor Collins,
For.
Councillor Florent,
Or,
Councillor Harper,
For.
Councillor Shala,
Or.
Councillor Vermeer.
Or.
So it's carried. The next resolution, I have it moved by Councillor Bongo, seconded by Councillor Harper. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the Human Resources Administration and Public Relations Committee meeting of October 21, 2020 as circulated. Are there any comments on those minutes? All right. Hearing none, I would call the vote. Councillor Collins,
For.
Councillor Florent,
or,
Councillor Harper,
For.
Councillor Bongo,
Or.
Councillor Shala,
Or.
Councillor Vermeer.
Or.
It's carried. So we are now at item number 7 in the agenda, committee, staff, and council reports. And first report up is the fire report with Chief Kruger. Is Dawn on, Holly?
No, but if you have any questions, I do have access to him, or I can follow up if there's any questions on that report.
I see it's very straightforward, and I think the only thing on there, I had seen somewhere that there was a request for a meeting date. Has that been-
Yes.
Okay,
So actually, I think what we'll do, Don just has one, excuse me, one item that he would like to propose into the 2021 budget. He's done a staff report on it. So if council is comfortable, instead of having an entire EMS meeting, I would recommend that we add it to the asset management waste meeting on the 25th of November. He'll provide the staff report. And if you have questions, you can contact him in advance of the meeting, and then we can talk about it then.
is there any objection to that from any member of council? Hearing none, I think we would go forward with your recommendation, Holly.
Okay.
Was there something else you were going to say? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I was just going to ask if anyone else had any other EMS items that they wanted to discuss. If you do, you can bring them to us outside of a council meeting. We can plan for that.
Okay, so the next report that we have up is from the Planning and Building Administrator. And I know Tracy's on with us. So Tracy, did you want to comment to this before we do the vote on it?
No, it's pretty self-explanatory. I think if anybody has any questions, I can answer anything.
The document on screen was provided to everyone. So hearing no request to comment, I will go forward with the resolution. And I have it moved by Councillor Shala, seconded by Councillor Harper. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin authorizes staff to proceed with the application received for the purchase of the unopened shore road allowance in front of.
Sorry, Jane, that is this is a bylaw.
Oh, I'm sorry.
For the site plan agreement. There is also a shoreline road allowance as well within the package. It's just a resolution.
Okay, I apologize.
So we don't need resolutions at this point. This is just staff
Okay, fair
reports.
enough.
Just, yeah, discussion.
Thank you for keeping me on track. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Mayor, regarding that bylaw, if we could just drop that down a bit, I was just wondering if, I don't know if it shows an entrance to each one of those properties all along there. And should it or should it not?
Well, this is for the site plan agreement only. So this is to put a buffer between the industrial use and the residential use. It doesn't necessarily have to do with entrances. That is dealt with within the consent application. And we know that there is an easement to benefit part one of that R plan that goes in behind.
That's correct. However, what I'm getting at is all the individual driveways have driveways off of Hill Street. And it doesn't show them, should it? It almost appears that way, that it's off of the easement that we decided on about 4 or 5 months ago.
It's in the legal description for the consent. So this is this site plan agreement is just a added condition as per the consent, but within the consent description, it only states that part one will have that access to that easement.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we are not interfering
so
with
the
their
only
access.
one that's going to have the benefit of the easement is part one, which is the garage.
Okay, thank you.
And if I may, I have a question too. We're talking about the natural barrier on the one side, but is there, sorry, not a natural barrier, the requirement to put in a vegetative barrier. Is there a vegetative barrier on the other side to the property that's, I would say, to the west of that garage?
I believe there is a bit of a buffer there. It's my understanding. It was never ever part of a requirement.
Okay.
But in discussions with the property owner, they are fully aware about the feelings of having that buffer there. So I don't imagine there's going to be any trees or clear cut of that portion of the land.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any further questions of Tracy? Hearing none. Thank you, Tracy.
So this is just a bit of a simple report. We are working on the website. I think everyone's gotten some emails about that. The style guide, we've moved forward with some of the correspondence that we've put out. I did set a meeting for next Friday with the Algonquins of Ontario negotiation team, and that will be a public meeting. I just kind of worked that out yesterday, so we'll be providing notice as we do all. It'll be considered a special council meeting, and we'll do that this afternoon. We've sent out the newsletter and the waste calendar. Hopefully everyone's received those. We're in the process of finalizing an eco-museum report that will come in the December package. We did receive the Save Restart funding, which can be spent in 2020 as well as 2021. We're starting our audit this month. Jen has been doing some online learning, as has Carla, and the virtual treasurers meetings are starting. So that's all of that. And we did return the Canada Day grant. So that's money that has been returned because they gave us a certain amount of time to do something online or virtual or figure out if we could move Canada Day, and we don't think that that's going to happen in 2020, so we returned it, and we will be applying for the 2021 funding in November as well. Does anyone have any questions on those items from me?
I would just like to make a comment, Mayor Dumas. First time I've seen the chickadees on any of our logos. They look kind of nice on there.
Thank you for that feedback. That's good.
So the next staff report was the 2020 strategic plan. I did put a complete package, a complete summary of the 2020 chart that we've been using in the package. So I'm not sure if everyone's had time to read that or if there's any items that you would like to discuss in there. The gist of this report is that when the strategic plan was written in 2016, the intention was that it would go 2016 to 2021. That would make it renew in 2022, which, as I've written in the report, I'm not sure is good timing, in that there's potential that council could be in lame duck or, does it make sense for a council to start an updated strategic plan in the last year of their term? So that's kind of my summary. I don't know if anyone has any comments on the staff report itself or any of the items in that table.
Does anyone have any comments?
I just have a question.
Go ahead, Councillor Bongo.
Yep. So as I recall, we have the broadband plan that staff will be working on putting together. Just up until this term is done, how are we doing for time? So when I look at your summary of the 2020 strategic plan update, there are a few things that where you mentioned, has not been done yet, has not been completed. And of course, there's a whole bunch of things that we have also been doing and are ongoing. I'm just wondering how many more things from the list can we fit into this year, or have we sort of maxed out our schedule and our staff resources at this time?
Well, I think that's partially why I put this in the council package. So I think, as we wrote the packet, or as the plan was written in 2016, there were some high-level ambitious goals. Some of those things have changed. Some of the requirements have changed, or council has, done research and determined that it's not a path that we want to follow, or that is a priority at this point. So I think my intention was to highlight, how staff is feeling about going into 2021 and the pressures around COVID. I think I did spell out in that staff report that the priorities that I thought we should be working at in 2021. And I think that's what I'm looking for council to tell me.
And I think we've already established by your recommendation to put funding into the 2021 budget that broadband is a priority. And I would comment, and I was going to comment later on correspondence received for information, but the annual general meeting of Roma is happening in January. And if council members have had an opportunity to look at it, there are a lot of issues and items that are going to be covered in that virtual conference that ties into what we have further identified in the current plan, and broadband is one of them. So I think I would encourage members of council to look at that and let staff know as soon as possible if you wanted to attend the virtual Roma conference, because I think it's got a lot of things that will help us tie the last 2 years of this term of council together on priority items. So that's my thought, Holly. So go ahead if you wish.
No, I think that I've broken this out kind of into two resolutions. The first one is, does council want to embark on a new strategic plan? And the second one is what we think we should be doing as we go into 2021 budget. So I guess there's opportunity for you to answer those questions separately. And that's kind of the reason that I spelled it out that way. So I'm hoping to get some input on that. So I guess I don't know if you want to have that conversation at the same time, or if we want to just continue to talk about what we're going to do about strategic planning first, and then talk about 2021 priorities in the next staff report.
So,
can I ask? Sorry.
Mayor, if I could. It's
Councillor
Richard.
Councillor Collins first, then Councillor Shala.
Thank you. We mentioned back at the end of 2019, that a walking plan would be a good idea to set up around the Madawaska area, around the Bull Diamond, out onto that piece of land or something like that, to give some external recreation. Little did we know that COVID was going to come along, but that walking course, if you like, for want of a better term for it, still doesn't appear anywhere. And I think that walking course would be good for the residents here in Madawaska, to give somewhere safe off of the highway, off of the roads, that they can safely walk. And that's not noted anywhere. It's not in the budget for 2021. And it obviously hasn't happened this year either. And I thought it was left, let's see if we can put some money together for this year. And it doesn't appear to have happened. So just bringing that to attention. And I know we've had lots of restraints this year, but I don't think it's a very expensive thing to put into place. And I think a lot of residents would prefer with their walking to be off of Highway 60 in the roads, especially now winter is arriving. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that feedback.
So if I can just comment on that, I would say that that is less a strategic priority and more a project. And I think we have seen staff, get those projects mid-year. So I think that in the next section where we talk about what we're going to do in 2021, that would be an appropriate time to add that if council agrees that that's something that we should be doing.
Okay, I think that's a good recommendation. Okay, and Councillor Shala?
Yes, I think it'd be an advantage to a new council if we started it to give a new council an idea of what the plan was for the township. So, and when it happened, if a whole new council was elected, then they could make the change if it wasn't finalized. Okay, so if we did the process as good as we could, as far as we could, and then, like I said, if it was a new council, well, then they could either adopt it or they could add to it or whatever. I just think it may be beneficial for going forward.
Okay, that's good. That's great. I think I included Strathroy's strategic plan. I don't know if you had an opportunity to go through that. One of the things I think I struggled with this strategic plan that we have right now is that it was so inclusive and so detailed. I think to me, the intention of a strategic plan in the sense that Councillor Shala is talking about is strategic. It's high level. It's what are the goals of the municipality? What is the intention that council sets for what it is we're supposed to be doing? So if we move forward with a strategic plan, I would hope that our new plan would mirror something similar to what Strathroy has. 15 pages. The first couple pages says what we do, what we're defining ourselves as, what we believe the community wants of us, and then some very specific items that we can continue to loop back to. So as I've been writing staff reports, I've been trying as much as possible to relate everything we do to our strategic plan. So I think that would be a great tool for staff council interaction, is just to have a clear, concise strat plan.
And I think one of the things, and I appreciate you including that strategic plan, and I think it's something that going forward with our next strategic plan is they indicated a fair amount of public consultation in their process as it went forward. And I think that that's something that we will have to do, that would be very beneficial for us to do, is to have those public consultation processes as we go through the plan and then tie it into the high level. You may get lots of ideas, but I like this plan. You need a plan that is as indicated, high level and sets the goals for the township. And then the annual work process, ties it together yearly as well. So any other comments from any other members of council?
I have a question for Holly. Our plan appears to be 5 years long. Strathroy's is 9 years long. Mm-hmm. What's the difference there?
Well, actually, thank you for pointing that out, David. That's part of the reason I like their plan. To me, again, I think strategic plans should be high level. What are we trying to accomplish? What type of community are we trying to develop? And I think 9 or 10 years easily spans maybe 3 council terms. So, we could create it based on public input and say, this is kind of the direction we're going. You know, what is it that we hope our community will look like in 10 years? I think 4 years for a strategic plan is pretty short. But I think it really, as I said, if we could focus it and come up with some measurable outcomes and start to use it to better communicate with the community as well. Because I think there's an opportunity in a strat plan to talk about the things that are different about South Algonquin. You know, like, for example, I've said a number of times, the fact that we don't have a county and all these places around us are doing great economic development things, that's something that we need to clearly articulate in our strat plan. We're going to do what we can within kind of our realm, but we need help. So recreation, the same thing. Like, what do we hope recreation in this community will look like in 10 years? And how do we plan to get there? So I think 10 years, 9-10 years is a great goal. And that, you know, it's a lot of efforts. Putting a strat plan together is, you know, it's public consultation, it's discussion, it's a lot of discussion with staff and council. So I think, yeah, the longer, if we can put something really solid together and stick with it for 10 years, we can do some good accomplishments.
Would it be better to run it on a council term basis, like 4, 8, 12 years or something like that?
I think that we could write that into the plan. So if we did, so you might recall at the beginning of this term, I did a presentation on our strat plan, and I tried really hard to say, what does this mean to this council? So I think we could do it in a way that, you know, at the beginning of each term, we could kind of put it up there and say, you know, is there things that we need to take out of this? Are there things that we are redirecting? How are we informing it? But I think that should be part of the plan. So for example, seniors housing. So we put seniors housing in the 2016 plan. We brought CMHC here. We talked about it. We found out that really that's a private industry thing, and a public-private partnership is going to be required to do that. So is it time to update our strat plan and say, this is maybe not something that this is something council can lobby for, but it's not something that we're going to run in-house. So I think having the ability written into your plan to change those things or update them as information becomes available or as things change. For example, broadband. We could spend a year, you know, working hard towards getting broadband here, and then somebody could turn on a switch on a satellite and that problem went away. So I think being able to create goals and then being able to modify those as the council changes, as the things in the community change, as the world changes, is really important too. But it should be written into your plan that that's what we're going to do.
Good points. Yeah. And that makes it a viable living document then, that ability to do that. Any other comments? Did I hear someone? Okay. All right, Holly.
So yeah, I guess that's some great discussion, and what we're trying to decide is, do we do it in 2021? Do we start to recreate our strat plan in 2021, or do we hold it until 2022, which is the election year, or do we push it to 2023? And we don't really need an answer on that today. We could take that to a committee if that's what council decides.
I think based on the conversation, personally, I would feel good bringing it back to a committee and having some further dialogue. I think you've given us a great deal of food for thought into the process and you know, the possibility of the longevity of the plan being critical as well. So unless I hear something different from council, I would suggest that we bring it forward for further discussion at whichever committee you feel we should take it to, Holly.
Okay.
Okay, then.
So Carla, we'll have to table that resolution then, right?
We can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess if we're not going to vote on it, I'll just table it.
And then I'm sorry for flipping through this. I thought it was important to add as much of it as we could. This, for those watching, is the corporate plan that is a great example. This is brand new 2020. And I actually was in touch with the CAO that put it together, and they feel like it was a really successful process. Sorry, trying to not flip too fast. Okay. So this next one is the internship. The summary of that is we did get permission from NOHFC to extend the deadline if we choose. There are some interesting economic development things happening, and I think through the COVID relief that's going to come, there will probably be more. So you can see my recommendation is that we update the job description and repost with the potential that it could be a remote position. So that's kind of all I have to say about that. If anyone has any comments or suggestions.
Anyone?
Sure, I could just add a bit.
Go ahead, Councillor Bongo.
Yeah, so I completely understand how it's a very deflating feeling when you are unable to fulfill a position. So I completely understand what staff is going through to have to re-recruit. But as you said, Holly, I think that there is a lot of background online, remote research, grant research, all of that could be done behind the scenes. And further to that, if this position is going to be 100% remote, as I did mention to you, and you can see my social media proposal, I do think that an ECDev intern could spend a substantial amount of time developing our social media strategy as well. So I really believe that this position is a really, really positive thing for the township. And just a question for you, Holly, in the new job description, will there be mention of social media responsibilities for this hiree?
So the thing about this position is it was created based on a set of requirements or a set of things that we wanted to accomplish. So I don't think there was too much social media in that proposal to NOHFC. Now, having said that, there is obviously some leeway because of COVID, requirements have changed, etc. Honestly, I think this is one of the items that we need to speak to strategically. As far as social media goes, I know that it is kind of up and coming, or it is a requirement from a tourism perspective, but I just want to be clear about what the accomplishment of social media is for the township, because 1 year is probably enough time to get a good following, and then that requirement doesn't go away. So I think that we could do, as I've said in the report, we can do better, and we've been talking to staff through our website. We're hoping that our website update is going to provide much more usable better communication, where there's a lot of things that we're trying to get on there. And what the website designers are suggesting is our social media should be directing people to our website, not the other way around. So what they're telling us is, other municipalities have realized how labor intensive social media is. And the more you can push people towards information that is kind of concrete, the less staff work it is. So having said all that, I think that, yes, we do need a social media plan, but I don't think dedicating 100% of one staffer's time for 1 year is what we want to set ourselves up for. Again, we can continue to have that discussion as we move forward with this person. So to
Okay.
answer your question, I will update it. I will include social media in the job description if NHOFC permits it.
Super.
Okay. Good. All right. That sounds really good. Go ahead, Holly.
So yeah, there's obviously a resolution in the package at the resolution section. This last one, we talked a little bit in the committee meeting that this is just kind of a summary of what we're hoping to accomplish in the 2021 budget. We have heard about an addition to this just earlier in this meeting. So I just wanted to put this forward as we are starting the budget. We've already started the budget. So I would just like some feedback and either agreement that we are hoping to take this approach or some direction otherwise.
Okay. I thought that the report reflected things that we have discussed recently through council. And I'd also like to thank Jen for sending out the financial statements for till the end of October so that we have an update as to where we are financially within the township. So thank you very much for that. Any comments in regards to this process that Holly has described and where we're, as we start to get into our budgeting for next year?
I have a comment.
Go ahead, Councillor Florent.
I understand the reasoning for putting things on hold for a year or maybe possibly more. But the longer we delay some of the repairs, the more expensive it gets. And we've already put off some of the repaving on Major Lake Road for 2 years now. If we put it off for another year, the final cost is probably going to be 30 or 40% higher than when we initially talked about it. And for the most part, it's just repaving, and it really doesn't require too much work from our staff. It would likely be pretty well 100% from a contractor.
And I think that's a fair comment, and we can take that forward in the budgeting process. And
also, Dave had mentioned to me privately that it was almost time to resurface the streets in Madawaska again. And the initial asphalt is cold mix asphalt, and then it was overlaid with I think it's called a double surface treatment, which is just tar and chip. And again, the longer we delay, the more expensive it's going to be.
okay.
And again, that's something that our staff wouldn't be doing at all. It would be a private contractor.
Okay.
So there's no drainage or preparation on those projects then, Joe?
There may be some culvert replacement, but I don't think there's very many. But certainly there's probably some, because the ones in Madawaska that was initially paved with coal mix probably 30 or 35 years ago. So that's the age of those culverts that are in the ground for the most part. I think there's been a couple that have been replaced by our staff since then, but very few.
Okay, thank you for those suggestions. So Holly, go ahead, or any other comments?
Mayor Dumas,
Councillor Shala?
we've initial term of council, we talked about various projects, and Hay Lake Road was on there, and I'm not sure whether that is part of the drainage improvements, but also we're in dire need of gravel on all the other roads within Sabine Ward, and I don't know, that's likely put on by a contractor also, from a crusher to the road. So how much time it would take from the township, I really don't know. Maybe just a grader. And so anyway, I just I wasn't sure whether we were going to discuss that later at a roads or an asset management meeting or what, but I didn't want us to slip by anyway.
Thank you. I know Dave is listening, and this is the process. We need to take this to asset management for sure for the budgeting process as well. Anything else, Holly, on this?
No, I guess I just want to be clear that the intention of this staff report was to cut the capital back and focus on doing less this year. So I think what I'm hearing from Councillor Florin and Councillor Vermeer is that, or sorry, Councillor Shala and Councillor Florin is that they're not in favor of this staff report. So yeah, that's it.
This is coming up.
The resolution on the table.
Yes, leave the resolution on the table. Thank you.
So yeah, that's it for me, unless anyone has any other questions. Oh, so in addition to that, I did propose two additional health days as outlined as COVID stress relief. We did receive some funding from the provincial government, and they did indicate that it could be used for additional staff time. So that there's a resolution on the table about that as well, if anyone wants to discuss it.
Well, just coincidentally, I had a call from our MPP, John Yakubuski, and talking about the COVID funding, and he certainly was, he did explicitly express the assurance that we were looking after our staff and that the money was going forward and that it was supporting things that would be beneficial to our staff in the recognition of the stress and the changes in processes and all the concerns in regards to COVID. So I certainly think that this is a good recommendation as well. Any other comments? Hearing none, go ahead.
Dave, are you on the line?
Yep. All right. Thank you, everyone. We had a job interview conducted on Monday, the 2nd, and we have a unanimous choice from the hiring committee that there is a resolution in the package for that position. We're still looking for a council volunteer for the interviews on the 24th. If anyone would like to contact me about that. We have all our equipment prepared for the winter season. We've been out sanding a little bit with this this cold weather and a bit of snow, but we're warming up to double digits again. So we're going to get back to a few projects we'd like to complete, heading to Sabine and Elm Lake. End of this week and through next week, and carrying on with grading in some key spots. I'll take a moment right now to mention that I have had some feedback from the M&R about our requests for a trailer storage area in the Elm Lake area, and they are telling me they're going to be getting back to us with something, and I hope to bring that to the asset management meeting on the 25th. Under environmental services, we sort of had the new program presented to us 2 weeks ago. It came up fairly quickly. So on Wednesday, I was informed that we'd be getting something called Super Sacs that I had never heard of before. The Super Sacs showed up on Friday. I did a little research before we saw them. They are plastic bags that fold into containers that if you leaned on them with 5 pounds of pressure, they would squish. So I immediately expressed our concern to the new program, which is the Electronics Products Recycling Association, that, you know, in our winter conditions here, these are not suitable. They're not really outdoor type of containers. They would be crushed by snow. Our staff would be cleaning them out at the beginning of every operating cycle. And we did receive them on Friday. Realizing that we had to do something, we created a small area at the end of our reuse bins to put 3 in a temporary stopgap measure. Our other bins have, the one from Erie has been removed and the other one from Madawaska will be removed on Monday. So they went and had a meeting in Toronto and have offered us a solution to provide us with shipping containers for each site at a cost of $2,500 each, including delivery, which is a fairly good price. I don't see these super sacks as anything we could manage outside. We can't plow snow against them. They're going to fill and freeze. There's no tops. So what I'm proposing is that we accept this offer and buy a container for each site. I have, since the writing of this report, received written confirmation with the price and delivery. I think it can be done within existing budgetary means without going to reserves. So just informing council, and there's a resolution on the table to accept that or not, or we can have discussion on it now if you'd like.
Dave, can I ask, are they expecting the super sacks to go into the container so that they can still be using a pump jack lifted out onto a cube van?
Yes, they have to be. The pump jack can't operate on gravel. It can't operate on ice. You know, we have a foot of snow, it's not going to happen. They're going to fill very quickly. They've assured us they're going to come pick these up regularly. So when we get 3 or 4 or 5 full, you know, the truck is supposed to show up from Powassan and pick them up. I don't know that that's going to continue. They're pretty keen. It's a new program, but just I can see short.
Okay.
So the container, we could probably put, you know, 8, 9, or 10 of these things in before the container's full, and that would get us through the bad weather. And
Okay. All right.
I have a
Thank you.
question.
yeah.
Go ahead, Councillor Florent.
Dave, are these shipping containers like a returnable thing? Is it a one-time fee of $2,500 per, or do we have to keep purchasing them as they get full?
It becomes our asset and we own it forever. We can sell it if this program changes, but we would just stay there permanently, and they unload it by backing up to the double doors and taking these containers out from within it.
Well, what would be the difference between that and what we have now?
Nothing other than we're giving up space within our reuse containers to house these. So we've taken up about 10 feet of the end right now, and that would only allow us to set up 4 of these sacks. I think, you know, 3 TVs is going to fill a sack.
Why wouldn't we be using our electronic container? Why would we be using the reuse container?
The electronic container has been taken away because we didn't own them. So Miller owned the one at the Erie site. It's already been removed and it's not coming back. And the one in Madawaska site is owned by another company, and it is also going to be removed as of Monday.
Okay, I wasn't aware that we didn't own them. I thought that we had bought them.
No, we didn't buy those.
Okay, so like on the surface, a $5,000 fee to collect $1,000 worth of electronics doesn't really add up. But if we're going to have them forever, in 5 years, they would pay for themselves.
Correct. And I just saw, you know, a tremendous amount of attended time trying to clean out these sacks at each operating cycle. They just suggested pulling the tops of the bags over, and you know, if we get 6-8 inches of heavy snow, you know, and it also opens us up to vandalism.
Yes, they certainly have to be inside another container. I agree.
David, it's Jane. I know that you will be watching this and staff will be watching it closely. Like I've seen televisions in that former storage area that wouldn't fit into a 3x3 by 3 bag. Like there's some really old, huge televisions that were in that collection building tank before. So I think this is going to be rather an onerous process until they get all the glitches worked out. But I commend you for moving quickly on this and getting something that will, you know, work for us and our staff in the upcoming winter season. Like one good freezing rain would dissolve, or as you say, crush those bags down. So thank you. Any other comments to Dave, or go ahead, Dave, if there's further you want to say.
Oh, I brought that very question up with them about the old projection screen TVs, and their suggestion was just to leave them outside and they would pick them up separately. But I still think if we have a container, we would put them inside.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Go ahead.
Just carrying on to the road projects from this year. We've pretty well at the end of our costing coming in, and they are tracking within budgetary allowances, which I think is good news from where we sat this year. And that we are going to carry on with some other projects. As I mentioned, we're going to be heading to Sabine to complete a project this Thursday and Friday, and then we hope to get from there to Allen Lake and see what we can do. I haven't been in to see what the state of the trailers are, but we have a bit of maintenance we'd still like to get done before snow flies. And if this warm cycle stays, we'll carry on with other things.
All right. Any questions or comments to Dave? Hearing none. Thank you, Dave. That's excellent. We're grateful for getting a week that's going to allow some catch-up stuff to happen for sure. Are there any members of council that have a report for anything that they might have been involved in? No? All right. Thank you.
Mayor, I'd just like to say something if I could.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Vermeer.
I just want everyone on council to know that we had a very serious medical situation on Allen Lake a couple of weeks ago, and ambulance was called, and I just want to refer that there was no problem finding the address. They did know exactly where to go, so obviously the GPS coordinates are working. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you for that feedback. That's good to hear. Thank you. Any other council members? Okay. So we'll go ahead then, Holly, with the agenda. Okay. We did business arising from the minutes and unfinished business of council. Anything? Okay, so now we are into the action items. And this is the shoreline allowance, shore road allowance. And so did we want any comments on that at this point in time? No, okay. And the information items were in the green sheet on your package, and that's where as I mentioned, the Roma Council is noted there. And as I said, I would really encourage council members to look at that. And also there are webinars, since what Holly's going through now are the webinar sessions for members of council. If there's anything there that you're interested in, please let staff know. And okay. And this one, Holly, if you could just hold it for a minute there. If you look down on this, you will see that the annual conference is council's opportunity to get updated on issues impacting rural communities. This year, the program will include broadband, flooding, senior services and aging in rural communities, community safety and well-being plans, waste, full producer responsibility, tying into our previous discussion, OPP matters, municipal impact of cannabis growing, the digital government and virtual meetings, community paramedicine, big pilot project in our area with Renfrew County and South Algonquin, and implicit and explicit bias. So again, you know, in the past it meant going to Toronto or wherever the conference was being held. So if there are any members of council wishing to participate, please let staff know as soon as possible, and registration can occur. Thank you.
So I'll go through these these information items. I just also wanted to bring to council's attention that our CEMC, Brian, has created a summary package and he has updated the HIRA. So as you all know, we generally have a meeting, 2 meetings in the fall, or I think some years we've done it 1 fall and 1 spring, to update the emergency management program and do our required desktop study. So the province this year, because we've all been living and working in an emergency situation most of the year, has kind of allowed us to use that as our training. And so I think Brian's intention is to provide you with this information with the intention that we'll pass the resolutions and bylaws in the December meeting. So now that you've all had an opportunity to review it, I just wanted to ask if you feel that we should have a committee meeting to talk about this information, or if you would rather just interact with Brian and let him know any of the comments you have on this, or how we should go forward with it. I'll open the conversation there.
Any comments from council?
I have one. It's a very lengthy report, and to be honest, I haven't reviewed it that well yet. It's almost 200 pages. It's going to take a long time to go through it all and analyze it and then come up with comments.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the question is, would you prefer to continue to do that on your own, or should we organize a meeting in regards to this explicitly itself?
So just to be,
I would like to review it on my own first.
So
Okay.
just to be clear, the balance of those 200 pages are the document that we have reviewed every year. So Brian has just made an effort to provide you the changes specific to this year. So we update this every year. And this is his effort at indicating where you should put your attention or what has actually changed. So yeah, we can give you a bit more time and decide at the next committee meeting. The only thing we need to be cognizant of is that the resolutions and the bylaws need to be passed by the end of December.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's achievable. I've been looking through it as well, and as you say, it's just the updates that are being implemented into this from what was changed from last year. So. Okay, so I think I would suggest or recommend that we go forward with having these resolutions at our next meeting in December, our next regular council meeting.
Great.
I just have a quick question.
Go ahead, Councillor Bongo.
Are we going to be doing the tabletop exercise? Is that an annual thing, just to make sure that we are, on top of our emergency preparedness protocol?
So no, actually, the province has indicated that because we have been working in a situation where we've been in an emergency situation since March, that they are going to take that this year as the practice that we should be doing, that we do in those 3 hours. So we won't be doing a tabletop exercise this year.
Okay.
And when you review the plan, it has always been included in the plan that an episode similar to COVID was always one of the risks of, becoming an emergency process. And Brian has been involved or was involved through the whole process of developing our COVID response plan as well. So as Holly said, I think we've covered it quite well, but certainly read through it and get back to Brian if there's any comments. Okay, thank you, Holly. Okay. So at this point, we're at item 12, any new business from council? Hearing none. So now we will go into the motions of council. And I have this motion moved by Councillor Shalla and seconded by Councillor Harper. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin authorizes staff to proceed with the application received for the purchase of the unopened shore road allowance in front of Lyle Plan M382 Lot 19, Parcel 22237, Nipissing in the geographic township of Lisle, locally known as 101 Woodland Lane, as circulated in the council package. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, I would call the vote. Councillor Collins.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Florent.
Or
Councillor Harper.
For.
Councillor Bongo.
4.
Councillor Shala.
Or
Councillor Vermeer.
Or
It's carried. Thank you. Okay. The next one. Okay. So the resolution I had moved by Councillor Vermeer and seconded by Councillor Collins.
I think that we had decided that we would table this. And
Oh, I'm
discuss it
sorry.
at a council meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, committee meeting.
Yeah, so this item has been tabled. The next resolution, let me see here. Moved by Councillor Harper, seconded by Councillor Bongo. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin hereby directs staff to provide all the employees 2 wellness days, one in 2020 and one in 2021, using provincial COVID-19 funding. Any discussion? Hearing none, I would call the vote. Councillor Collins.
For.
Councillor Florent.
or
Councillor Harper.
For.
Councillor Bongo.
4.
Councillor Shala.
or
Councillor Vermeer.
or
And I'm for, and it's carried. The next resolution.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. All right, this I had moved by Councillor Florence, seconded by Councillor Bongo. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin hereby accepts the 2021 budget planning staff report and directs staff to develop a 2021 budget based on the report. Any discussion? There were
I thought we were
suggestions.
going to talk about some of that at a asset management meeting.
Well, I think that we can say that there was suggestions made that had for consideration in the discussions in regards to Dave's report and Holly's. Holly, do you think we need to add that in?
I don't know if we should amend this. I think I'm not really, I guess, if you want to vote to take it to a committee meeting, we should amend this resolution. But we can
I
definitely.
guess what I'm getting at is I would like to be it to be a little clearer as to exactly what it's pretty broad what we're talking about, and I just think we should be possibly clearer and as per ward what we're going to do.
I have a comment too.
Go ahead, Councillor Florent.
This is the staff report that suggests that we put everything on hold as far as capital projects are concerned. And I am in complete disagreement with that. Like I said before, every time you delay something, the cost goes up. I think it's pretty timely that we just completed like complete rebuild of 3 roads in Whitney, and then we want to stop everything in the rest of the township. And that's the way I look at it. And forgive me if you think that I'm being biased, but I am. And I think we have to continue with repairs, maybe not so much in-house repairs, but especially contracted repairs.
Thank you for your comment. Any other comments?
So perhaps we should table this, discuss it in detail at the committee meeting. We do have a committee meeting in 2 weeks.
I'm happy with doing that. Is that agreeable with the rest of council, or should I call the vote on this?
I'm happy to discuss it further.
Well, we've heard you, Councillor Florent and Councillor Shala. Any other comment from other members?
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Councillor Bongo?
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine to save this for another meeting in 2 weeks. I feel for the roads that still do need work, and if there's some sort of amicable solution that we can come up with, I would be for that. So yeah, I look forward to discussing this again at a later date.
Okay. Anyone else? So we will table this for the asset management meeting coming up on in 2 weeks.
25th.
25th.
November 25th.
Okay, thank you. All right. So what's next? Okay, so the next resolution is, I had that moved, let me see here, sorry, moved by Councillor Collins and seconded by Councillor Shalla. Staff had informed me that the hire is, I will read the resolution, but the hire recommendation is Josh Drew. So the resolution would be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin accepts the hiring committee's recommendation to hire Josh Drew as the part-time landfill site attendant position. Any discussion? I would call the vote. Councillor Collins?
For.
Councillor Florent?
Or
Councillor Harper?
For.
Councillor Bongo?
For.
Councillor Shalla?
Or
Councillor Vermeer?
or
And I'm for. The resolution is carried. And this is where we would add in the resolution that Holly distributed earlier this morning or yesterday in regards to, the letter, sorry, yes, thanks, Holly. The letter regarding our Lyle landfills transfer. So I had this moved by Councillor Shalla and seconded by Councillor Harper. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin directs staff to send the November 3rd, 2020 letter request for MPP assistance Lyle landfill transfer to MPP Yakabuski's office. Any discussion? Hearing none, I would call the vote. Councillor Collins?
just a second, Mayor.
Okay, Councillor Shalla.
Are we, I read the letter and I read the correspondence we want to forward. I didn't think the resolution was a complete sentence. Made my suggestions overnight, but anyway, when you look at the correspondence that we're going to forward, I believe the first or second, if you drop down wherever it is, I don't believe one letter should be included in this. If you drop down to where, keep going down.
Can you give me an idea of what you're looking for, Richard?
I'm looking for, I believe, 2020 or wherever, somewhere there, right? Right. Well, I believe it's number 1 or 2. Keep working up. That's what I see is 25 to 32.
1 and
I'm looking
2
at
are
number 1.
1999. Sorry?
Right.
What are you looking for?
Right there. I don't believe that. I don't feel. Number 2, I don't think that should be part of this summary.
Yeah. The one where it says the township sends a letter to MNRF telling MNR that the landfill is not needed or should be closed.
Why should that not be
Correct.
included, Richard?
I don't believe it has anything to do with this landfill site. At the time of amalgamation, there was 2 landfill sites. I think in general, one was called Madawaska and one was called Lyell at Mackenzie Lake. And I believe that's the Mackenzie Lake one.
Okay.
Good point.
It was closed shortly after. We was open for maybe a year and a half or 2 years, and then
So it was
Joel,
also
you may recall that?
It was also in Lyle?
Yes.
Okay.
There were quite a few
So
dumps.
the reason
around
that I included that was because the response was that you have been operating it and you are obligated to continue to operate it. So that's why I added that, because this letter, it was their response to that.
Well,
It says
okay.
the
but
township will be responsible for all future work on the site, including operations, closure plans, and monitoring to MOE standards. So it read to me like we were saying, we don't want it, you can keep it. And then they sent this response almost immediately that said, oh no, it's yours and you're responsible for it. And then they continued to not give it to us.
Joe, maybe, could you help me out here? I don't think we ever declined from the Lyell one, the one in Lyell, and actually they were both in Lyell. And I thought that this one, just about in time, the way this is all following in order, or that it may have been the Mackenzie Lake site that Harold was referring to, that we didn't need any longer, and it could be closed.
If I
But-
can,
Or maybe what you could do before you send this out is you could have a look at the file. If there's anything on the one at Mackenzie Lake, there may be something to show when it was closed, but I know it operated for, I would say, a year or better, maybe even 2. Same with the one at Hay Lake and Alien Lake. They operated for a short period after amalgamation, and I just thought that one was just seemed like it was.
This would have
the
been
one
6 years after amalgamation.
Pardon?
This would have been 6 years after amalgamation.
no, it's only 2 years. Amalgamation was 98.
Okay.
It just seems to fit right into when the one at the one at Mackenzie Lake in Lyell was closed.
Okay.
Can I add something here? From my point of view, it just confuses matters because I didn't know about another one at Mackenzie Lake. And for someone reading this for the first time and the history behind it, they don't understand that this is actually referring to somewhere else. As I read it, I'm thinking, why on earth would the township have said that we don't want a landfill? I was not aware of that there being 2. So I think to remove it would remove any discrepancy there and make for easier reading, definitely.
I fully agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I will go back and I question it only because why would it be in this file? But if you are telling me-
Maybe all the new sites were in there. Was there any in there regarding Hay Lake?
I've never heard any. I don't know anything about the other one.
Okay, maybe when I think about Hay Lake, Hay Lake, I believe, closed immediately, and the one at Mackenzie hung on for a period because Jerry was at the time in charge, and we had to have an attendant there. And I remember suggesting a local student that would open and close it and gate it every night. That went on maybe for about a year and a half. So because we needed an employee and we didn't have one, and everything was happening in a hurry. But Mackenzie Lake did hang in there for a while, and I think Hay Lake switched immediately to Whitney, and and then theirs was closed afterwards. So,
yeah.
But I know Hay Lake or Mackenzie Lake dragged on for a period before it closed.
Yeah.
Okay, as I said, the only reason that I had put it in at all was because it was the ministry reiterating that we were going to be responsible even though they continued to own the property. So I'll go back through the file, and if I can't confirm that this is the proper landfill, I'll just remove it.
Okay.
I think that the gist of what I'm trying to say here is that we've been trying to do this since 2000, since 1999. Staff and council have put an extreme amount of effort into it, and we're no further ahead than we were in 99. That's the point of this letter.
Oh, I fully agree and appreciate your efforts right here with putting this all together, Holly. I'm not knocking it at all. It's just all I'm saying is I think it would be less confusing if that letter wasn't in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Good points.
Can I
go ahead.
maybe clarify a few points?
Go ahead, Councillor Florent.
It's just coincidental that those other sites were closing up at the same time. Some of them, in fact, had closed before. There used to be a waste disposal site at Macaulay Lake, and it was closed up, I think, around 1995, quite a while before amalgamation, because the local services board had taken over looking after the dump in Lyle, and the dump in Macaulay was within the local services board area. So it was one of the first ones that closed up. And the one at Lyle Lake closed up around the same time. And then at amalgamation, the other ones closed up, like the one, like Richard said, the one at Allen Lake, the one at Hay Lake, and then the one at Mackenzie Lake. Yeah, I think it's just coincidental that they were all about the same time. I don't specifically remember this letter, and I would have been on council when that was written, as Richard was too. But I think it may have been a ploy to try and force the M&R's hand, because even back then we were trying to get ownership of that property instead of simply managing an M&R site. So if it was omitted, it wouldn't take anything away.
I think that's what I thought, Joe. That's what I assumed when I read it. I thought that it was council shrugging their shoulders saying, okay, well, you keep it. And then, as I said, I thought that this next letter was them saying, oh no, we're not going to keep it. So that's exactly the thought process that I was going through when I included it. But again, I'll if I can't confirm that it's appropriate, I'll remove it.
Good.
I'm okay with it either way. But.
Mm-hmm. It just seems to stick out, that letter in all the, and right off the top of the correspondence as well. So personally, I feel if there's nothing to substantiate it being there, it would be better to take it out as well. So any other discussion? Okay, thank you very much. So we're at item agenda 14, which is notice of motions. Are there any notice?
I think we need to pass this resolution.
Sorry, I didn't call the vote. I apologize. Okay. All right. Did I read the resolution? I will read it again. All right.
Do we want to use the term "and amended"? Amended as discussed?
Yes, I think so. Discussed. Okay. So I had this resolution moved by Councillor Shala and seconded by Councillor Harp. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin directs staff to send the November 3rd, 2020 letter as amended as directed. Request for MPP assistance Lyle Lake landfill transfer to MPP Yakabuski's office. Any further discussion?
Would it be more, would it look better if we put our MPP's name in there? If we're asking for his help, I think at least we could do is put his name in there.
Fair enough. So it would read MPP John Yakabuski's office. Anything else?
I think that would be more appropriate.
Thank you. Anything else from council? Then I would call the vote. Councillor Collins?
4.
Councillor Florent?
4.
Councillor Harper?
4.
Councillor Shala?
4.
Councillor Bongo?
4.
And Councillor Ramir?
4.
Did I miss someone?
Nope.
No. Okay, it's carried. Thank you. Okay.
Sorry. It's been just emailed to me that we didn't have a resolution for the economic development intern. It was intended that we would do that. So council is welcome just to direct me in the minutes, or I can read out the resolution, whatever you choose.
Let's go with the resolution then, Holly, please.
Okay. Be it resolved that the council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin direct staff to modify the economic development interim job description and advertise the position as a potential remote position.
All right.
Discussion.
Any discussion? I would need a mover. And could someone just say, I can't see, who would like to move this?
I'll move it. It's Councillor Bongo.
Councillor Bongo, seconder.
I will.
Councillor Florent, thank you. And Holly read the resolutions. So any further discussion? Call the vote. Councillor Collins.
For.
Councillor Florent.
For.
Councillor Harper.
Or
Councillor Bongo.
For.
Councillor Shala.
Or.
Councillor Vermeer.
Or.
It's carried. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so we're at, I didn't hear any declaration or indication of notice of motions. So now we are at number 15, the bylaw for the site plan amendment. And I have this moved by Councillor Harper and seconded by Councillor Florent. And okay, first and second reading, being a bylaw. Where is that down here? Okay. Being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and the CAO clerk treasurer to sign the site plan agreement with Doreen F. Rogers and Kyle R. Rogers, and that it be read a first and second time and be referred to the committee of the whole of council. Councillor Collins.
For.
Councillor Florent.
For.
Councillor Harper.
or
Councillor Bongo.
For.
Councillor Shala.
Or.
Councillor Vermeer.
Or.
All right, it's carried. The third reading, being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and the CAO clerk treasurer to sign a site plan agreement with Doreen F. Rogers and Kyle R. Rogers as referred by the committee of the whole of council, and that it be read a third time and passed in number 20-624 and signed by the mayor and the CAO clerk treasurer, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be entered into the bylaw book. Any discussion?
Excuse me,
Hearing none.
Jane.
Yes, Carla?
Can you just repeat who you had move and second both of those?
Oh, okay. The first one was moved by, the first and second reading was moved by Councillor Harper and Councillor Florent. And the third reading was moved by Councillor Bongo and Councillor Vermeer.
Thank you.
Okay. And there was no discussion, so I would call the vote. Councillor Collins.
For.
Councillor Florent.
For.
Councillor Harper.
or
Councillor Shala.
Or.
Sorry, Councillor Bongo.
For.
Councillor Vermeer.
Or.
So it is carried. We're at number 16 on the agenda. There is no resolution required to move into closed session. Okay, so number 17, payment of accounts. I have, somebody's got background noise. Councillor Collins, moved by Councillor Collins, seconded by Councillor Harper. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin authorizes the payment of all bills as recorded for the meeting of November 4th, 2020, batch 2020-00050 for $44,782.79, batch 2020-00052 for $483,360.56, batch 2020-00054, $319,939.41. Calling the vote, Councillor Collins.
For.
Councillor Florent.
For.
Councillor Harper,
For.
Councillor Bongo,
Four.
Councillor Shala,
Or,
Councillor Vermeer.
Or,
It's carried. And agenda item 18, adjournment. Resolution moved by Councillor Shala, seconded by Councillor Florent. Be it resolved that the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adjourns the regular meeting of November 4th, 2020 at, somebody got the time? 10:27. All in favor, Councillor Collins,
For.
Councillor Florent,
Or,
Councillor Harper,
For.
Councillor Bongo,
Four.
Councillor Shala,
or,
Councillor Vermeer.
or,
That's carried. Councillor Shala, my congratulations to your grandson. You've come through loud and clear.
actually, I appreciate it because I was going to ask the question. Was it? It was great.
It was very good, yes.
Okay.
Everyone was good.